Grateful to those who are here. I'm the agriculture outreach specialist for the Million Acre Challenge, and I do that work through the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. The Million Acre Challenge is a collaborative, a partnership between Chesapeake Bay Foundation, Future Harvest, and my colleague Lisa Garfield is here from Future Harvest, and American Farmland Trust. My colleague Amanda Cather is also with us, and another American Farmland Trust partner, Leah Raz, is joining us today, and I'll mention her in just another few minutes. So I'm going to take up the first little chunk, as short amount of time as I can, to get us sort of oriented and make sure that folks are aware of what we're doing and that they're in the right place. The Million Acre Challenge is a soil health project with an aspirational goal of reaching 1 million acres of Maryland farmland in soil health and regenerative practices by 2030. The next slide is really a chance for folks to say who they are and why they're here. So we're hoping that you can just add to chat. Are you a farmer hoping to become one? Are you here because you love the Burriers and you just want to be a fan? What is it that brought you here today? Kind of the primary role. We will have some time towards the end to take questions, but we're going to try to kind of blow through the first part of this pretty quickly, and we'll get to questions as they go along. But no matter what, feel free to use chat to reflect on something, to ask for clarification, that kind of thing. And also, if there are soil health opportunities you'd really like to know more about, feel free to use chat for that as well. The Million Acre Challenge does an awful lot of different kinds of things out in the soil health space. Lisa works in particular on a soil testing and benchmarking study, which is spearheaded by PASA, Pennsylvania Sustainable Agriculture. It's a long-term study with about 47 collaborating partners all across the state, and then this year moving from Maine all the way down into the Carolinas. So a really broad soil health study. We do a lot of farmer-to-farmer networking. This is one of the opportunities that we make that happen. And I want to sort of just jump right into the case studies block of this slide, because we will be featuring that in just another moment. The Burriers are the first in Maryland for the American Farmland Trust case studies. They've done many across the region and across the nation, but David and Belinda are the pioneers for Maryland, and so we're excited to share that information with you as well. Let's see if I can advance my slide here. Real quick, ways that you can stay in touch with the Million Acre Challenge. These lunch and learns happen every second Wednesday of the month. They feature different production systems and different kinds of farmers from across the state, and also occasionally ag service providers with information of value. We offer a monthly newsletter, which you'll be seeing. It's really a roundup, and it is only monthly. It's long, there's a lot in it, but we only hit you up once a month. So we find that folks really appreciate that. It's a big download, but you're only gonna be seeing it in your inbox on occasion. We are at Soil Challenge on social media, and you can follow us there, and we'd love that. We have a number of different funding opportunities, a regional conservation partnership program, and several climate smart commodity funding opportunities, and the QR codes on this slide will take you to more information about any one of those. The soil health case study that I've already mentioned a couple of times was brought through funding from National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, spearheaded by Leah Raz at American Farmland Trust. What they have done is to really create a collection of soil health studies that feature soil health successful farmers across the nation. These are producers with economic success stories to tell about adopting various soil health practices. As I said, the Burriers are the first in Maryland, and the QR code on this page will take you to that full page of AFT resources for theirs and others, so that you can really get into the details of this. We're not going to try to do that today, but I will just highlight a couple of things. There's a table on the back of the second page that presents a summary of the economics effects that revealed themselves through this work with the Burriers and American Farmland Trust. Essentially, what it shows is that due to nutrient management practices, the farm's net income increased by $70 per year per acre on the 900-acre study, and achieved 108% return on investment. The largest increase in net income was due to significant increases in average crop yield. Of the Burrier's total acreage yield increases since 2008, David attributes 35% per acre row crop yield increases to the per row crop yield increases, and 50% per acre for hay. The resulted economic increase is an estimated $122 per acre per year on average, which is really exciting. And Leah, if you want to just say like one quick word about this, I'd love for you to have that opportunity, because I'm sure I have not done it justice.
No, Elizabeth, I think you really have done it justice. I'm very impressed. And I just want to reiterate that this was our first Maryland case study, and it was our only case study to date that has only evaluated a change in nutrient management. And we're incredibly proud of this case study, and really just encourage everyone to give it a read. I dropped a link in the chat that the QR code that Elizabeth provided will take you to. So definitely, I could go on and on about our case studies. I won't do it here, but please do check them out. And yeah, just looking forward to hearing more from David and Belinda.
Wonderful. Yeah. And this is what farmers tell us they want to know. Like, show us the money, and then we'll think about soil health. So we are showing you the money. And so open your mind and do some reading and see what that has to offer you. All right, a quick introduction to David and Belinda and the farm operation. Burrier's Linganore farm was a dairy until 2000. David and Belinda were able to purchase what was David's home farm in 2004 and transitioning it to crop production and hay. Conservation has been a top priority since the beginning. These two people who are with us today have both served on the Maryland Soybean Board. Belinda has served on the United Soybean Board. David is currently serving on the Frederick County Farm Bureau. Belinda serves on the Maryland Farm Bureau, Farm Journal Foundation, and others. As a couple, they've received a number of awards, which are including the Mid-Atlantic Master Farmer, the ASA Mid-Atlantic Regional Conservation Legacy Award, and of course, very recently, the Maryland Leopold Conservation Award. I plucked this quote out of some of the information that Belinda provided. If we don't stand for agriculture, it may not be here for our grandchildren. And I think that really anchors what you're going to learn from this really pioneering couple today. Belinda and David, if I can get my slide to advance, I'm going to now kind of hand it off to you with the start of a question, which is just kind of tell us just a little bit more about kind of the farm, how you came to be there, how many acres, that kind of thing. And thank you very much for being here today.
You're welcome. We're sorry that our video isn't running, but we'll do the best we can verbally.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. This is a great opportunity, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity. If you look at our farming operation, first of all the land we farm is highly erodible. So in our mind, that puts a challenge to us to protect our soils, protect our water, first of all. And if you look at our case study, I started farming in 1976, but really we're going to look at it before 2008 and after 2008, simply because 2008 is when we got the mandated nutrient management law here in Maryland. And at that point in time, every field that had a higher phosphorus field index value, they call it FIV, of 150, we could not apply phosphorus to. And so up till that point, we had a voluntary nutrient management plan that was nitrogen based, and in 2008 it would change to phosphorus based. And so what was the issue there is I had 153 fields in our farming operation in 2008, and I had 87 fields over 150 FIV. And the challenge was there to not lose yield, but yet come in within the parameters of the nutrient management plan. I felt like my first knee-jerk reaction was that they were going to take food off my table. So that's kind of the basis to the case study. And so we started farming here in 2002, didn't buy the farm in 2004. Every year since 2002, we have grown a test plot for both Pioneer hybrid corn and decob. And so we have had influence from agronomists from both of those companies. And right away, 5 years after our dairy cows left in 2000, we felt like there was something missing in our soils. And with being engaged with those agronomists, the dialogue is that we felt like, first of all, some of the micronutrients in our cow manure we were missing, and also we felt like the organic matter in relations regarding building organic matter, we had lost as well. So our first, even in 2002, our first goal was to increase organic matter. So if you look back at 2002, our organic matter here on the home farm, which is our test plot farm, by the way, averaged 1.8 to 2.3%. And just to fast forward here to 2021, in 20 years, we doubled it from 4.8 to 5.3. So what did that do for us? So I think the significance of that you see in the case study, and that over this period of time, the soil health discussion the people need to understand that it's a marathon, that it's not a sprint. So it's not like flipping a light switch. It's commitment. You're committing to a process. It's not a golden nugget. So you have to look ahead and feel like where your weak link is, and where your challenge may be, and what opportunity is there to meet that challenge. And so right away, our farm had been no-till just in corn and soybeans since 1982. But we had never really extensively used cover crops, acre per acre, as we started in 2002. And so that has been the basis, and that was the start of our soil health journey, and that brings us to this point today.
And remind the group, how much acreage are you farming now?
We're farming about 900 acres now, with 109 here owned and the rest leased. Nice. And so our home farm is our test plot simply because we own it. And so, but we've taken this practices to other farms, and it's kind of interesting. We say if we have a neighboring farm that we're allowed to farm, or that we lease, and you take that farm over, we see that, talk about the journey. It takes 4 or 5 years to get the health up to date to the farming that to the farms we've had previously.
So we talked a bit before we came together today about kind of your residue management. And it's real obvious in these pictures. I think the picture on the left might be a little bit blurry, but it's easy to see what we're talking about. We've got a real heavy residue, and I think that is off-putting to some farmers. They aren't, maybe they're not quite sure how to manage that, or they're afraid it's going to bring in pests. Can you tell us a little bit about your feelings around residue?
That's a point that I think really needs to be addressed. It is a concern. So when you go to a total no-till situation, let's use 200 bushel corn crop. You have 5 tons of residue to deal with to go to the next crop. And so what we have done, we have worked extensively on nutrient recycling. And if you look at the picture of the soybeans there, we have gone to using products like humic acid and sugar to increase the activity of our microbes. And so when I go to combine those soybeans, I want that residue to be gone. I want it to be sucked down in the ground. I want the ground to be bare. That's our goal. And we have came a long way. If you look at the picture on the left, you can see that the residue is gone. We haven't, I'm not saying that we have accomplished it, but we've made great strides. It's something we continue to work on.
And that's really evidence of microbial activity in the soil. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's another part of this marathon, is that we recognize now that we're feeding the microbes. We're not fertilizing the soil. We're feeding the microbes. And so our attention to the microbes is part of what has made the difference.
It has also increased our soil health. So happy soil, happy microbes, good yields.
So to take the organic matter discussion just a step further, when for every percent of organic matter that we have 23 pounds of nitrogen. So in my case, if I have 5% organic matter, I have 100 pounds of nitrogen available. And so that is how we have increased yields and not increased our footprint with nutrients. If you look at the water holding capacity at 5%, for every percent of organic matter, it'll hold 27,000 gallons of water, which is incidentally is an inch of water. So this past summer, we had 50% of a rain, and we had 80% of our APH, average production history, crop. So the water holding capacity of our soil this past summer was very evident, in that our crops were not nearly stressed as possibly they could have been if our organic matter would have been lower. The other caveat of that is that our soils will infiltrate 3 inches of water before we can have a 3-inch rain before any water runs off. So not only does it hold more water, it also has the capacity to take more water in. So like I said before, it's a total package.
Now, I feel like this is an area where Belinda has a little bit of a pet project going, because she's both a wonderful photographer and obviously a lover of different kinds of wildlife. But you, I know, have used some conservation dollars to try to enhance your pollinator population. So let's just talk real briefly about that.
Yeah, so I asked Dave if I could have a spot for a pollinator plot, and he told me some areas that I could do. So we no-tilled the seed into the ground, and it has been 3 years to try to get it established. It takes a lot of mowing to encourage new growth, but as you can see in the photos, we have accomplished it, I believe. I'm not totally satisfied, but I'm going to keep interseeding, interplanting with plant plugs. But definitely the monarchs are there, as you can see in the photos. We had in the other photo, you can't hardly make it out, but it's one of those giant mothras over in the middle on the right. Yeah. And you can also see the birds nesting in there. So I believe that I've accomplished as far as the pollinators and the wildlife habitat. I'm I'm good with it.
So I'm going to move us beyond hairy vetch a little bit quickly. I know it's a cover crop species that some farmers are not really happy with, or they're afraid of it because they are worried it's going to go to become weed seed, but I believe it's working well for you. And speaking of beautiful flowers.
Yeah, so the hairy vetch is definitely a good product, we think, and it's done its biomass coverage as far as it goes. And I don't know about the burn down, but it definitely did the ground cover job.
So so an issue here in Central Maryland is our harvest time is it's very, very hard to establish multi-species in the fall after we harvest. Our harvest here doesn't start till like the 20th or 25th of September, 1st of October. And so to get the multi-species started, we need to have it sown and established before that time frame. So this is something that we're still working very hard and experimenting with, is the right combination. This past year we used hairy vetch and canola, and we fly them on the crop while it is still standing. In soybeans, we fly it on soybeans when they're dropping their leaves. We were very, very dry this fall. Our stands weren't as good as we had anticipated, but still, I feel like we got a really, really good return on the cover crop that we did establish. So that's a project ongoing. I'm not saying the canola I was very happy with. The vetch, we will try again, but there's some other combinations we'd like to try as well.
You can see where his finger's pointing on the picture is where the hard pan was, but the tap roots went on down. So that's a great job that the canola is doing. And on the right-hand side is ladybugs, and the larvae are working on aphids that were out there. So it's encouraging more insect, good insects. Yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing is a reminder to folks that context matters. And so depending on the farm situation and what your resource concerns are and what it is you're trying to achieve, you're always maybe trying something new and always tweaking what you're putting in the ground, or the practices that you're giving some attention to. This is a little bit of a sidebar because it's not as specific to crop production, but I know that you all have also been working with conservation dollars to do some stream bank buffers and to plant some multi-species native plants. My tongue got ahead of me there. But I am concerned about our time. We've only got about 3 minutes left in our official program. So I'm going to just ask you all to reflect a little bit on your equipment and how that has played a part in what you're doing.
Okay, so the picture on the right is my corn planter, and there's 6 guys who have the corn planter set up 6 ways, and there's not a right and wrong. But we use the coulter on the front, which is a coulter that is the same as on a turbo till. It's a turbo till coulter, and so that really pulverizes the soil 2 inches wide, almost like a strip till, but it does not move as much dirt as a fluted coulter. If you look on the back, we use the drag chains, and also we use the spader wheels. And what the spader wheel does, pushes the dirt together, and the drag chain comes along and it pulls all that shut. And the advantage of that is that we feel it closes all the air pockets, and we've been able to achieve some very, very good stands with this setup. I'm not saying it's right for everyone, but for us, it has worked very, very well.
And have you, like most farmers that we've talked with, had to do some very, very production or operation specific modifications?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we had a corn planter and a bean planter. We run 2 different planters. They're both set up just a little bit different. The bean planter, probably next year, we're going to probably change the closing wheel setup The corn planter, happy with, but we're always looking. This is my 48th crop, but I'm as excited over this crop as I was my first. The opportunities are more there today than then, and so we're always looking, always engaged. Our best can always be.
I think that gives us an amazing segue to sort of what you see looking ahead. I love that you are still as excited about next year's and this year's harvests and crops as you are for the previous 47. What do you see coming along for you and for soil health in general?
So after these years, I mean, I don't want to sound like the old guy, but after this experience, this year will be different than any of the 47 previous. So you're not sure what your biggest challenge will be. So I will say that what we do today, we look at our crops a lot. We're looking at our crops extensively. We're paying attention to nutrients now. It's not about the amount of nutrients, it's about the balance. We work really, really hard on a good balance. We tissue sample now all our crops just to get the right nutrients on it at the right time. And we've just done that in the last 4 or 5 years. That has been a game changer. But I cannot emphasize to be looking at your crops and just trying to be on top of what challenge might be there.
So amazing timing. You guys are brilliant. I want to just add real quickly before we sort of officially wrap up this first 30 minutes that Belinda and David are not able to be on video because the broadband was not working in their favor. So that's why you can't see them. And I just love this photograph of the two of you. It gives us a chance to see your smiling faces. So thank you both. I know David had thought he might be on a planter, running a planter right now. So the fact that we've got him here on Zoom is a real gift. And we appreciate what you all are doing in the farming community, both as in your leadership roles and as stewards of the land. What we're going to do at this point is allow those who need to jump off right at 12:30 to do so. And thank you very much for being here. But we're also just going to kind of come off the slideshow, allow ourselves to be seen if possible, if our internet allows it, and take in some of the questions that may have come through chat or things that you've been waiting patiently to ask. So for folks who need to leave, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll keep going for about another 15 minutes. What do we got going on in chat?
Looks like a few people had to sign off. No questions at this time, but
Okay.
please feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions if you'd like.
Yeah, any questions? I know there's some folks in the room who are probably eager to no pun intended, drill down a little bit into some of the details here, thinking back a little to the soil health case study or something else. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, how are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I did have a question and I kind of came in a couple of minutes late, so I may have missed this, but who would you contact? I'm actually in Virginia, going to be farming in Virginia. Who would I contact to help assist with the specific soil testing as we're getting started?
So you usually, I'm not sure what where you would buy your seed. Your retailer would be the person to contact first. Usually somebody that wants your business would it's kind of like a carrot you give them to help you, and so they want their products to do well, so they're going to give you good advice. The other opportunity is possibly your extension.
Okay. Thank you.
And what are you thinking of farming, Kathy?
Well, initially, we're going to basically be doing farming pretty much produce for our own consumption. We will expand. I know that potentially we will do flowers at some point because we're looking to do some care farming as well. But we're looking at just basic things that we would grow to eat. That's initially what we want to do. But we understand that, and we're actually in the final process of purchasing our land, but wanting to make sure that we know what we're dealing with in terms of how we need to enrich the soil so that we can get started. And that's why we're that's why I got on this. This is really helpful to me because we want to make sure, as I have looked at some of the mapping that they do about the soil health, and it's nice, but I want to know, I would like to go to each the piece of land and say, okay, what is it looking like? Because I know even different areas of the land have different healthiness or erosion levels or all of those kinds of things. So having an expert help with that is really important.
Yeah, that's great. You're wise to start there. We have a resident soil scientist on the call with us today, Lisa Garfield, and she's got a big smile on her face.
Good,
Please
thank
test
you.
your soil first. But I do think in your case, extension is probably a good place to start.
Okay.
Also, if you are aware that maybe there's some resource concerns, issues on the farm, you could also get in touch with your local NRCS or
Okay.
Soil Conservation District.
Okay.
They have a lot of resources, and sometimes they can help identify issues and provide some funding to help alleviate them before they become a big problem for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That's very helpful. Thanks, everybody.
So I see my colleague, Matt Kowalski on the call here, and I know he jumped in late. So I'm going to actually see if I can backtrack to and reshare my screen, get us all the way back to the soil health case study, because I had the notion that he may have a question or two about that. Not to put you on the spot. Let's see here. I can get my screen to share. Are you seeing that?
I am.
Okay. So to anchor you, Matt, this is an American Farmland Trust and NICWIF initiative. Forgive me if you guys can hear the construction that's going on in the background of the space I'm in right now. And the Burriers are the first from Maryland to be part of the soil health successful case study. Leah Raz is or was here and she's the one that sort of headed that up for AFT, but some pretty great numbers here. Net income increases through soil health practices, specifically nutrient management. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen both this and then some similar analyses within this case study, and it comes across as, to me, it just makes sense, I think, because when we are creating that healthier soil system and then taking away all the typical conventional steps, every time we jump on a tractor and start it up, every time we've got to go buy another product, if we can avoid that by creating nice cover above ground and wonderful soil health below ground, and we get that that soil magic going, it's a similar story to what we tell with a lot of our grazers. If you can let the animals go out there and do the grazing for you instead of starting up the tractor, cutting hay, tedding hay, baling hay, storing hay, then later on in the season, you got to get that hay back out to wherever you got your animals. This is a great example to me of the simplicity of a healthy system and how it can save you money.
David and Belinda, I don't imagine you were surprised because you're living this work and seeing these returns, but to see it kind of all put down into a table like this, how did that strike you?
I was not surprised, but I really didn't know what the numbers were. I mean, we knew it was working. We knew that we raised efficiencies. We knew our soil health was improving, and we felt like what we were doing is working. So we, you keep on. It's like you layer it on, and every year we put another layer or something on to that we think is the next step. And this case study really brings it in fruition that you see the numbers to it. And I'm excited for this study, just simply because it helps me validate everything that we've done doing. So that's part of my excitement. We're to this point, and there's more to be done. And so we're going to engage in the next step.
Great. Thank you. And also for those who might not otherwise be aware, there's a second study coming, and this one will focus on what we call a soil health curious farmer, somebody who's not quite as far along in learning the ropes as the Burriers are. And this is a farmer who's been actively involved with some of the things that the Million Acre Challenge has to offer, lunch and learns and field days, and both hosting them and attending them, participating in farmer networks, just really soaking up the available knowledge. And I think that's, kind of like Kathy said, starting at the beginning and using the resources that are available to you so that your farm gets off on the right track. Other questions? All right. Well, I am excited to know that there are farmers out there who are excited to still learn after as many seasons as you guys have had. And I know you've had some bumps in the health road, that kind of took you out of farming for a period of time, and now you're back in it with gusto, and that's really great. It's inspiring. So our sincere gratitude to the two of you, Leah, to the work that you did with the Burriers, and to all of you for spending a little bit of time here today to learn and grow in your agricultural pursuits. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Take care.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank y'all. Sorry that we weren't available on video.